Okay, so it seems like recently a lot of Hololive fans have been calling out something that they've seen going on with one of their products, and it is pretty disappointing to see, but also at the same time, me personally, I don't care too much, but some people have obviously been voicing their opinions, and yeah, I'm not so happy at what is going on. Now, what is exactly going on? If you don't know, Hololive has an official card game, which is a very, very popular thing, which also I have actually gotten pretty interested in. If you guys want to take a look at what I pulled yesterday. If you guys have seen my posts over on the community, I actually, you know, get a lot of these and they're really fun to collect. Anyways, as a VTuber fan and everything, it is fun to get them. And well, obviously, it's a very, very big thing now. It is one of the biggest card games there is for VTubers out there, right? Well, at least dedicated. And essentially, some people have been calling out some of the things that they've seen over on some of the advertisements for this card game. And this is the main post that I saw from this person called Looking for the Top. And they say, oh, they're using AI to animate ads for the Hololive TCG. And yeah, essentially Hololive have been doing a lot of promotions for their TCG as it's become very, very popular. And again, as I said, you know, it's one of the biggest VTuber kind of trading cards there is. And you can see here, the ads are not exactly the most crisp. It doesn't look like this has been essentially animated by a person, as you can see with how just kind of muddled this is. This is 100% using AI in some way, but the question is, how is it actually used? And that's something that I wanted to kind of discuss today and talk about whether this was animated using AI or whether this is actually a mess up from something to do with AI upscaling or some kind of upscaling. Doesn't even have to necessarily be AI, just some kind of upscaling at all. Now, obviously, yeah, this person claims that they're using AI to animate the ads, and people saying using AI specifically on Raura is one of the is another level of evil. Obviously, if you don't know, Raura is a you know, artist and has voiced before how much she dislikes AI and stuff like that. Now, there has been a couple of cases before of Hololive using it potentially in stuff like concerts, which a lot of people haven't really cared about because it's to do with like backgrounds and things like that. But obviously, this is actual, you know, VTuber art. This is, you know, characters. And all of this art has been originally drawn by someone, by the way. All of this is featured either on the cards themselves or is just promotional art that has actually been drawn by a real person. And then it seems like it's been put through something either to animate it or to upscale it, which has made it look like this. This doesn't look, you know, super clean. It looks a little bit muddly. And yeah, it doesn't look that great, and many people have been, you know, not very happy with this. People saying between this and cover lying about planning a statement in regards to the AFO AI use, it's starting to become harder and harder to see this as anything other than the company going all in on AI slot, which is beyond disappointing. They say they are a company, so they probably see it as a cost-saving measure, but it looks so bad it stains the company's reputation, even outside of the AI theft, taking jobs, and ethics discussion. So yeah, obviously a lot of people are not so happy, especially within the community that follows this. And this is the advert that I found. This is from the original ad that these people are quoting from, and it doesn't look too great. I'll just play it here. Obviously I won't play any of the sounds, but this is the animation they have playing, you know, besides the card. You can see that this is the art for the card, which has obviously been drawn by a person, but then obviously the animation is a little bit odd, and you can see how, like, kind of, I guess, like, muddly it is. I don't know how to describe it. You know, it's kind of like blurry in a sense. Now, obviously, maybe it was animated by someone and animated poorly, but again, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's upscaling or if it's just, I'm not sure. I'm struggling to understand really what is going on with that one. But again, you can also see it gets a little bit worse with this one, I would say. This one probably looks the worst as they zoomed in on it quite heavily, and you can see just around the eyes, around the hair, and all of that kind of stuff. There is some kind of either upscaling or something that has gone on here, which obviously has made it look worse. Like, it does look worse. It doesn't look clean. This isn't a clean image that has been drawn, you know, by, well, it probably has been drawn by someone, but I feel like it's been put through something that has essentially made it look like this, right? And yeah, you can see either like the eyes moving. It just looks incredibly strange. I've never really seen anything like that before. Well, obviously, apart from with AI videos, the same with this one too. You can see it is looking a little bit muddly. All of these are like this, right? It's the same with bells as well. You can see it is also not looking the most cleanest. And again, it could just be an AI upscaler, which obviously would, you know, kind of solve things. But like, even look at this, bro. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if that's an upscale. I feel like they've, I don't know. It looks bad. Either way, it doesn't matter what it is. it looks bad. You're right. It doesn't look good. It looks pretty, sloppy. I'm going to be honest. And, if they had animators working on it that actually had the time to do it, like even this, you can see where the kind of, sharpening is done. It just doesn't look great at all. And that's the same for every single card within this, which is such a shame because obviously, all of these cards are really nice. They are all drawn by people. These are not AI generated cards or anything. As I said, this is just the Sakura Miko one I got. Again, really, really nice. The foil's super nice on it too. So again, they are really, really well done cards, but it just seems like the advertising has somehow just been ruined with whatever they've put this into. And I think that is obviously such a shame because I think this would actually turn away a lot of people, right? Because regardless of whether it is AI or not, people are going to see this, assume it is, or even just say this doesn't look so great and probably not want to buy anything to do with this because again, that's how advertising works. If it looks nice and clean, if this was done with a clean animation, I'm sure they probably would have gotten a lot more sales than with something like this. So again, obviously a lot of people having issues with it because again, you could not care about AI stuff or whatever in terms of art and everything like that. That's totally fine, right? But the problem is it just doesn't look good. Like especially that one video of that person singing. Again, it just doesn't look great, right? It's just like, okay, this really isn't, it's just not advertising standard. Now, many people are blaming it directly on Hololive. I don't know, if it's them that control it. I think it is more of a case of we don't really know who controls the advertising behind a lot of these kind of things. Maybe this was done by a separate advertising company that maybe they hired to do it, and then they used AI and thought that would be fine. Again, that could be the case. Maybe Hololive did it themselves within, the company. We don't know. Again, it doesn't really specify how much they kind of work on this. And also you got to remember as well, the kind of VTubing side of it and the management behind the VTuber side is probably a little bit separate from the card game side. I'm sure the card game have their own separate team to kind of control this kind of stuff, including advertisement, new cards, all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm sure that is done by a separate team. So I'd say the blame is more so on that team than, management and things like that on the VTuber side. So again, obviously this isn't to, send hate to any of them or anything. I don't think that should be the case. And again, I don't even have a problem with AI being used, but whenever it's being used and it doesn't look good, that's whenever you start to have the problem, right? I'm fine with it being used if it looks good, but this just doesn't look good, right? It just looks really, really blurry. It just looks like a mess. Doesn't really make sense. And again, it is pretty disappointing to see, obviously, as card games are something that, very heavily rely on art. Every single card game, not just the Hololive one. If you think about anything, Pokemon or whatever, what makes a card rare, what makes a card good, what makes a card game good is the art and how well it is done on there. And that's what people kind of look for. And whenever, obviously, a card game is using AI and things that doesn't look that great, then of course, people are probably not going to be as interested in the game and will go to another game which has some cleaner art to do with it. Now, obviously, as I said, the cards are fine, but, with advertising like this, it isn't really going to help them out, right? And you can see this video has, 155 dislikes. People have already kind of picked this out, before any of these posts kind of came out. But again, as I said, it is pretty disappointing as this card game is really, really good, right? And I do, enjoy it. People saying, I think Muna was the biggest red flag. I was so confused how it all got these frames from this one artwork. People said, yeah, that's the one that gave it away to me too, and made me check the other animations too. Say the parts pointed to do look weird, but the AI detectors say it's not AI at all. It can always be a false negative, but is it? Then look at the ad and zoom in. You'll notice a lot of details in the background are wobbly and moving that they shouldn't be. And again, yeah, as I said, it could be that. I think it could potentially be the fact that it could be a what do you call it, like an upscaler or something like that, that it could essentially be drawn and animated by someone, but maybe the quality was a little bit lower, so they tried to upscale it, and obviously that then mushed around the face. That sometimes does happen, especially with like moving objects. So it would be nice to get a little bit of clarity on exactly what has caused this and how they can fix this to go forwards, because as I said, it just doesn't look good. People said, man, I hope that this is upper management decisions / bad faith actors. Most of the talents, at least on the EN side, are very open about their disdain for AI. So that feels like quite the insult, which is true, right? None of these talent that are involved in it, I'm sure none of them support anything to do with AI, right? And I'm sure they don't want this to be the case. I'm sure they don't want their models to be kind of put through this kind of stuff. And that is, 100% true, right? I don't think any of them are supporting this. So if you're sending hate to them over this, like, for example, like any of these people featured in the video, there's no point, because again, they have nothing to do with this at all. The VTubers have nothing to do with this. It's to do with the higher ups over at the Hololive card game that have already made this decision. People saying support the talents, not the company, which obviously, yeah, what people are saying. Who's saying, so it is AI. I mean, yeah, AI might be an easier job for them, but I'm sure animators in the Holo community would have loved to get commissioned and animate the ad. Using AI is just ruining the reputation of the brand/company. People saying, I would have noticed. That's how worrying it's starting to become. If animators give us One Punch Man Season 3, then maybe they should use some AI. Because it's about to be chaos on YouTube, which, yeah, is 100% true. And yeah, everyone's saying, not Raura, obviously it is a shame that it was used on her, especially considering, how much she has been against it, right? A lot of people tagging Cover, a lot of people tagging Hololive, trying to get their attention, being like, hey, can we stop this? People saying stop, this isn't AI, this is just bad upscaling, which could also be the case. A lot of people saying being anti-AI use is a self-report for low intelligence, which again, as I said, you don't have to be anti or pro-AI. I think you just need to be objective in the fact that this doesn't look good, right? Again, if they used AI and it was like sharpened and it looked like the image here, then I wouldn't really be making a video right now. I probably would have been like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't care. But, this doesn't look good. I think even if you are pro AI and you care about, you're like, oh my god, AI is the best or whatever, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't look good. Like that's the case, and that's not going to be good for the card game moving forwards. And that's the main gripe that I have with it, is the fact that, yeah, it looks pretty terrible. And obviously, a lot of these, a lot of the people that brought up within this advertisement are very anti as well, which I do think is obviously a little bit of a kick in the face, right? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of response to this, or if there's any kind of updates or like changes, or maybe they take the video down, because again, it isn't great to see. Again, they did also upload things up on their EN page, because this was all on their JP page, by the way, because EN, I'm pretty sure we get releases a little bit like older. I'm pretty sure they get newer releases, and then we get the ones a little bit after. This the release right now is this one with the Sakura Miko one that I got and the Luna one that I got, which, yeah, obviously got some pretty big hits out of this. But again, I do think this is obviously the newest set that is out at the moment in EN, and they've done a similar video. It seems that they do similar videos for all of these. Now, this one didn't look as bad, so I'm not sure if this was animated by animators or whatever. It does look a little bit like frame choppy, but I feel like that might be just due to the artist. Like obviously it takes a lot to animate it like 60 FPS or whatever to make it smooth. So maybe they just hired someone to animate it at a lower FPS, and that's why it's kind of a little bit choppy. But again, it doesn't have half of the mistakes that the other one has. This one looks a little bit cleaner. And again, I'm not seeing any problems in terms of like, the previous one had. So I'm hoping that this was maybe, it was one of these ads, and potentially it was just upscaling that messed it up. I'm not sure. But I hope that this is a fix that they can really make, because again, this ad looks fine. It looks perfectly fine. I saw no issues with it, and all of the characters look like the characters on the cards themselves, whereas this other one for the JP one, it doesn't look good at all. And also, I think there's also a potential, YouTube upscaling can do stuff sometimes to kind of affect this. But again, I don't think this is YouTube upscaling. I feel like this is part of the actual advert itself, which obviously many people have been pointing out. So again, it is a little bit disappointing to see, but hopefully, they can fix it. Hopefully they can kind of sort out whatever went on here to make a better advert like one of these, because again, this looks clean. There's no problems with the eyes. There's no problems with the lines. There's no problems with anything. And even if this was AI, it doesn't matter. As long as it looks good, and as long as it looks like this, that's totally fine. I don't care. But again, obviously it is, yeah, a problem that this one is looking like this, right? So essentially I just kind of wanted to make that video because I did think it was a very interesting topic to be brought up, and it kind of popped up on my page. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go for Game Subs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Yeah, I definitely recommend checking them out. And yeah, that's about all I got, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.